If you've ever been to Chillicothe, Ohio, you have definitely seen and most likely smelled the paper mill. The smokestack easily being the most photographed thing in our town. A couple of years ago I made a video sharing about how I got to finally go inside the paper mill for the first time just to take photos, and it was incredible. And I shared in that video how I've always wanted to actually spend time inside the mill taking pictures to make something that's real and like an actual document of what it's like inside the mill for the people who have just given their lives to that place. And earlier this year, unfortunately, they announced that the paper mill was going to be closing down. The year I was born, 1990, they celebrated 100 years of the paper mill being in operation. So that gives you some context into how important this place is in our town. Growing up, it was always like my friends' parents who worked at the paper mill. Now I've got friends today who work at the paper mill. And the timeline for everything shutting down has been kind of all over the place. But for a brief moment, it looked like it was going to be staying open to the end of the year. And now, as early as later this week, they're going to start shutting some of the machines down. Now, the reason I'm sharing this video in general is because, one, it's my YouTube channel, it's where I share my photography, but more than anything, this particular video, it's not about the photos themselves or what comes next, because we'll talk about that, and it's still very much up in the air, but I want to drive the point home that if you have an idea for something and you want to do something, don't wait for things to just fall in line. Like, go pursue that today. Do whatever you can to make it happen while you can. This past week has just taught me that it's very easy to waste time by not being proactive. So let me share how all of this happened. I got on Facebook less than a week ago. And I don't really use Facebook. It's not a fun place to be, but it's useful for like local resources, suggestions, that sort of thing. So I got on Facebook and I gathered a handful of the photos that I made a couple of years ago when I got inside the mill, and I just said, someone help me get back inside the paper mill so I can just make some photos while I still can. The idea of any sort of long-term project that I had is out the window now, so I'm just at this point thinking, let me make anything. Obviously, I'm a photographer and I have my own interest in photographing that place. As I mentioned in the previous video a couple of years ago, I've always wanted to go inside there because who wouldn't? If you've lived here your entire life and you're a photographer, anyone would want to do that. But at the same time, like, I've been able to do so many cool things with my photography, and it's all been very much my perspective. My books, my projects, it's all been very about me and my relationship to Chillicothe. And I want to be able to tell other people's stories in Chillicothe. And if nothing else, if I can just get inside the paper mill and make some pictures for the people who literally gave their lives to this place, then that's worth it. So I just gathered the photos and I shared that sentiment, that this is what I want to do. I've made books, I've made pictures of Chillicothe that have shipped all over the world. Let me make something meaningful for the people who actually live here, not just for the people who see Chillicothe on the outside. Like, let me make something for my community, my neighbors. I truly didn't think anything would come of this. I kind of thought this is like my Hail Mary attempt. Like, they're probably going to say no, but I will kick myself forever if I don't ask. And now I'm just kicking myself for not asking sooner, or asking for other access on other project ideas that I've had for years, but I just keep thinking, oh, well, I don't know if that would really work right now. And if I don't know, I don't know. So ask. The community really resonated with it, and so many people shared and tagged different relatives and friends of theirs who work at the mill or used to work at the mill, and it was just a really overwhelming response from the community, which was amazing. And all of this was happening in just the last few days. So I made the post. I believe later that night I got a message from Jacob Zielinski, so major shout out to Jacob. I think his girlfriend saw the post and then she shared it to him. He shared it with his manager, and the manager just said, like, put together a proposal of, outlining what it is you're wanting to do. Whether or not, like, if you're representing someone or a company, just give us more info. And so I just had to put together, I used Milanote. I just made a little Milanote board with some photos that I made a couple of years ago. A little bit about myself, explained that I'm not representing anyone. I'm just a guy that wants to do this. So I just shared my interest in documenting a piece of our local history here. Not just for me as a photographer, but like to be able to make photos that these people can just have and have something to remember this place with. And I put that together that night. The following morning, I got a phone call and I got access. And they were shocked that I got access as well. So the following day, I was in there. Jacob showed me around inside, outside. We had a golf cart so we could cover a lot of ground while I was there for just a couple of hours. There were some limitations, obviously, in terms of what I could do and how far into, everything I could go for safety reasons, but Jacob took very good care of me and showed me so much more than I saw a couple of years ago, and I saw way more than I ever would have expected to. So again, major thank you to Jacob for having me in there. I have access, I believe, through the end of this week, so this is still ongoing. I'm still going to try to get back in there as soon as I have time. It's the summer and camps are going on and Molly's working and the kids are at camp and I'm home with Forrest. There's a lot of moving parts right now, but we're trying to figure out anything we can so that I can get back in there, because while I was there, it was sensory overload. We're photographers here, so we can kind of talk gear now. Trying to decide what to bring with me. Obviously, the idea of bringing film, that occurred to me, and very quickly I was like, I have limited time. I don't want any limited resources while I'm there. So I just took the Z8, and this was the only camera I shot with. The 24-70 f4 is what I currently have on here. That is a 24-70. It is an f4, but for the size of this, when it is opened up to 24 millimeters, it does extend out, and then it fully extends past that. I have more thoughts on this as well, because the Nikon Z6 III, I'm going to share more thoughts on the Z system in a separate video, but I currently have the Z6 III and the 24-70 f4 as a rental for the summer. So more thoughts on that later, but for the sake of convenience and speed, I stuck with the Z8. The 24-70 f4 was on there most of the time, but at some point I did throw the 35 f1.8 on there. But that was my kit. I had the Z6 III in the bag in case I needed it. I had my Westcott FJ80 flash in case I wanted to use it, as well as the 50 1.4. But this combo right here, though, the 24-70 f4 on the Z8, this did pretty much all of the heavy lifting, and very happy I went with this, because it was just, as I mentioned, sensory overload. I saw so many things that I wanted to shoot that we stopped and I made photos. I was making photos quickly as we were walking and even on the golf cart, because I knew we only had so much time in there. I was by far not following any sort of like personal discipline rule of like don't overshoot and yada yada yada. Like I was just, let me capture everything. I got to meet some of the people who were working in there and share what I was doing and talk to them, hear their story, hear from people that had been working there for over 20 years, over 30 years. Nice to meet you.
Just trying to capture the history, right?
Yeah, just want to get as much documentation of everything for the people who spent their time here,
Yes. Coming to a sad end.
Yeah.
About 29 years in here.
29 years here? And that's the whole goal with this, is to make something meaningful and something memorable for the people that, have spent their entire careers inside there. The last report I read said that there was believed around 800 or so employees currently there at the mill, that just in a matter of a few weeks, it's all going to be shut down. And I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine that at all. And so trying to do something with my camera to make something meaningful. As a matter of fact, one of the local design and print shops, they reached out with interest in working together on like a zine or poster prints, things like that for the community. Again, it's all very much up in the air right now. I'm hoping to get back in there, because as much as I did get to shoot, I still obviously I want more. I'm grateful for every second I've had in there so far, but if I can get in there again, I'm going to try to. And again, that's the whole goal here with this video. I want to encourage you to follow any sort of interest you have in a project and find the way to make it happen. Don't wait for things to just fall in line for you. because they're just not going to. So I'll definitely keep you all up to date on all of this as it's happening, because it is just happening in real time. This is all just over the last few days, so I'm very excited to just share it in the process with all of you. If anyone here watching is from Chillicothe or you work at the paper mill, if you want to reach out for any reason at all about this project, please use my website, mattdayphoto.com, which I made with the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. For over 10 years, mattdayphoto.com has been built and ran with Squarespace because it was a no-brainer. When I wanted to build my own website, I knew Squarespace was the #1 place to do it. Everything that you need is all in one place, and it's incredibly easy to use. If you want to get started, you can choose from all of the different templates that they have, and you can further customize things however you'd like. For me, when I started my website, I was mostly using it for portrait photography, just showcasing my work for people to reach out and book their wedding day or book a portrait session. Nowadays, I use it more for my personal work and self-publishing, selling my own photo books, zines, prints. Anything I want to do, I can do it all with Squarespace. If you want to try Squarespace out for yourself, I highly encourage you to do so, especially if you're a photographer. Just give your work a place to live. You can do a free trial at squarespace.com, but when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/mattday. Use the code MATTDAY at checkout, and that'll save you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. So thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. And thank you to all of you for watching this video. Again, to Jacob and Michelle for helping me get inside the paper mill. Everyone that I met there, grateful for the experience, grateful for all of you watching this video. Again, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, suggestions. Maybe if you have a project that you've been kicking around, I'd love to hear more about it in the comments down below. But that's it for this one. So thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.